Monitoring system by task force tips. Drop your business card in over at the VCOS table. And that will be drawn Sunday morning. You have to be present in order to win. Big change, the afternoon network session tonight. It's going to be inside at the Water's Edge room, ballroom. We've got a storm coming in. I guess the wind has picked up quite a bit since when we were out there at lunch. So we're going to move it inside, although the covered deck we'll be using also. We talked about the sleeping rooms for 2015. We'll open up in February, so hold off booking your rooms until that point. And the last raffle is the Shell 42 deck lid down at the NFF booth. And at this time, it's my honor to introduce Rich Riley. Yeah, nice. Rich Riley. I've been running crazy. Rich Riley, the Clearwater Fire Department Fire and Rescue. He's also a volunteer in Maryland. He returns home once a month to ride the back seat, as you put it. And also Larry Schultz, retired division chief, Washington, D.C. Fire, and currently a deputy chief in Boone. Did I pronounce it right this time? Did I get it right?
And he slayed in Rankin County last weekend, so you're doing good.
So, without further ado, Rich and Larry.
Good afternoon. We're only going to go till 6, so we're it'll be just me and Larry talking to you. Just to kind of go over this, I know I gave a brief introduction yesterday at the opening ceremony, but I started my career in 1979, all volunteer fire department in Ocean City, Maryland, great place. I did 20 years with the Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department. That's the state of Fairfax because they don't even associate themselves with the rest of Virginia. I'm a current member and the past chief of the Kentland Volunteer Fire Department. That's in Prince George's County, Maryland. It's the largest combination system in the country. And presently, I moved down here in 2005, became the operations chief for Clearwater Fire Rescue, which has been quite the challenge. But great group of people I work for.
My name is Larry Schultz. I started as a volunteer firefighter in Prince George's County as well in 1977. Spent 26 years with the Washington, D.C. Fire Department, and retired having spent the last 4 years as the chief of operations of that organization. And as Ricky said, continue to serve as a volunteer deputy chief in Prince George's County as well.
Oh, you forgot the last piece.
Oh, gosh, darn it. I've also been a member for quite a while in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, at a quaint fire department called the Intercourse Fire Company. And it really is the Intercourse Fire Company, excuse me, that is the name. And I always tell people Intercourse sits between two villages, Paradise and Blue Ball. People always say, is that true? If you look at the map, that's where it sits, right between Paradise and Blue Ball.
You can keep laughing, it's okay. I do it all the time.
We're gonna cover today the top 5 factors that we see in the NIOSH reports. Ricky and I are students constantly in the line of duty death reports. I think it's probably one thing we're not doing enough. There's enough out there that each one of us ought to be reading those on a weekly basis. There's a tremendous amount of information, valuable information, stuff that we can be taking and using every day. But the fact that we continue to see line of duty deaths at a fairly steady rate, and that the factors in these line of duty deaths, when we're talking about operational line of duty deaths, are not changing. Ricky would say there's no, what's the bird?
Velociraptor.
Yeah, there's no velociraptor coming down and eating up a company, and that's just kind of the cause of action. It is the same things over and over and over again. And so today, we're going to focus on these 5 right here. I think that the point we want to make is that there's 1,000 different things that we could be doing. And as firefighters and in the fire service, we tend to want to find quick fixes. It's something we can do, it can make an immediate impact, and the fact is that there are no silver bullets out there. There's not a one thing out there, a single one thing out there that is going to be the answer to our problems. The only way we're going to resolve the problems and the challenges we have so that we're managing fire grounds in a safe and effective manner is by doing the work. We're gonna have to do the work. And we're gonna have to build competency at every level. So most of today will focus on building competency at the command level and the company level also.
And the one piece that we have to tell you about this is that we're trying to condense an 8-hour class in an hour and 45 minutes. So we're not going to cover every topic exactly as in depth as we want to. Both Larry and I work for a training company called Traditions Training. A lot of the check sheets and stuff you'll see today, that's available on our website. And then, you know, as we go through pieces of this, you know, we can only expand on so much. So you'll see us get hurried a little bit. So that's why it is because we get very passionate about certain slides. So these NIOSH top fives, this is what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about command and control. We're going to talk about inadequate risk assessment, one of Larry's favorite topics. We're going to give you some pointers on not having inadequate communications, skill sets and habits that you can form as a fire department, you know, to make your communications better. We're going to talk about safety and accountability. And the last piece we don't get to is the lack of SOPs and failure to follow those. And that's a crucial one that both Larry and I feel strongly about, is having SOPs regardless if you're from Intercourse, Pennsylvania, where, you know, they're showing up in horse and buggies to the firehouse, and or, you know, you got a fire department, 200 members, 100 members, or you're a huge fire department. You got to have standard operating procedures for your area and then follow them. You just having them written down doesn't mean anything. You have to follow them all the time. So.
I think the one of the phrases we like to use the most that Gordon Graham talks about, and you heard it yesterday if you took Dan's class, is that we kind of come up with we're good at coming up with excuses for problems on the fire ground. We can come up with every excuse there.